Gill, the founder of Beautyscapes and a lifestyle publicist and writer. I am so excited to introduce you all to an amazing woman, Diana Stobo. She is a celebrity chef, award-winning author. She's the founder and owner of The Retreat, an insane wellness destination in Costa Rica and one of our favorite places in the world, as well as the Truth Bar. So we are going to get to hear from her today all about her journey into what has become a magical beauty dream. So joining me now is Diana.
Hi, Sable.
Hi,
How are you?
Diana. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. And we can see you're at your beautiful location now. This room looks like a dream.
It is a dream. I want to sleep here myself.
And so you are currently in Costa Rica at The Retreat.
I'm currently in Costa Rica. Here, check it out. There we go.
Oh my gosh. It looks amazing. I'm in stormy Atlanta and would much rather be there with you. So I want to hear all about your journey with The Retreat, but also I want you to kind of take us back to the beginning, like who you were, a few years ago, because I know that a lot of your journey started when you had some health problems.
Yeah. So when I was about 33, 34 years old, I actually ended up in the hospital with I guess it was gastritis, bleeding ulcers, whatever. But I had 3 little kids at home. And I went to the doctor and they shot me up on morphine and basically sent me home and said, here's a purple pill. And I said, okay, great. Like, how long do I have to take it? And they said, for the rest of your life. And I was like, whoa. And at that time, I wasn't knowledgeable on health and wellness. I really didn't. I was a very healthy person. I'm Iranian, so we had a very Mediterranean diet. I never ate fast food. I wasn't a soda drinker. So I thought, why is this happening to me? And I started to research some of the things. I went through in vitro fertilization to have my children. So my body was jacked up on medicines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, whenever I had pain, the doctor would prescribe Vioxx, which we found out later, hurt the heart. There's just so many things that I just didn't know and didn't pay any attention to. But this was a wake-up call for me. And I started to study nutrition. And I learned to take away certain items to decrease the inflammation in my body. And within 10 days, I started to heal myself. After about 6 months, people started asking me what I did. I started to lose weight, got rid of the puffiness, looked younger than ever, looked healthier than ever, and people started following me. So then I even took it to the next level and became a raw food chef. I'm a trained French chef and then did raw food. And that was actually inspired by a woman named, never mind. She wrote Raw, Roxanne, who wrote Raw. And she was kind of the first person to put a cookbook out that was beautiful and elegant. And she was also a friend of mine. And she said, just do it for a month and you'll feel great. And I did. And I felt amazing. And it turns out I took all my chefing ability and turned it into raw food and learned how to do substitutions. After about 2 years of doing raw, I completely healed my body of Hashimoto's, every ailment that I had precancerous intestines. I have gut health issues. So, you only become an expert in things that you have issues with.
Right.
Right. It's like most psychologists are working through their own trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have gut health issues, so I needed to heal the gut. And I wrote my book, Get Naked Fast, taking away the foods that weigh you down: dairy, wheat, sugar, meat, caffeine, and alcohol. And it is the premise of everything that I do. It is about healing the gut, healing from within.
Mm-hmm.
During this process, I had a spiritual awakening, because once you clean your body out of all the toxins, everything opens up. The meridians open up, the channels open up, and you start getting connected to source, to nature, to God, to whatever you want to call it. And you shift your life. You look at life differently. And I was married. I was married for 27 years. I had 3 beautiful children. I had an amazing husband, but I wanted more. And I went on this journey to Thailand. I was up in the hills of Mae Hong Son. And I have like I said, I'm Iranian. So my father always put women on the lower end of things. Like, you don't need an education. You're just a woman. You just need to get married. You don't need anything. You just need, someone to take care of you. But I've always been kind of a little proactive in life, which annoyed my father. It also annoyed my husband. So I went off to Thailand. I got lost in the hills of Mae Hong Son with this monk, Thai monk. And we got lost. Like, we went on a 2-hour hike and we were gone for 10 hours. I mean, leeches all over my legs. We slid down these, the long neck tribe hills, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just fighting the river's edge, and it was frightening. We didn't know if we were ever going to find, where we belonged. So we ended up back where we were and got in the tuk-tuk and drove along the river's edge, stopped at this little place, and he says, "Want a beer?" This is the time. "Want a beer?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he just started telling me who I am. He observed me for 10 hours and said, "You're courageous. I've never met a woman like you. You've never once whimpered or winced. You are courageous," and just built me up on all the inner feelings inside me that I knew, but was never recognized by any family member.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how that is, right? We were
Absolutely.
looking for validation, and I had none. So this monk told me, I thought I was in love with this monk. For like a year, I thought, I'm in love.
Yeah.
And what I realized through that year is that I fell in love with myself.
Exactly.
And that was a beautiful experience. It really shook my husband's world, because he liked how things were. And I started to evolve and grow. And then I wrote my book, Get Naked Fast, inspired by this new Diana. I wanted to open a retreat center, thought it was going to be in Thailand because Thailand is the land of nature, right? Similar to Costa Rica, actually. And he just did not sign up for that. He didn't like it. So I put it aside. And over the course of, I think, another 12 years,
Wow.
it just ate away at our relationship.
Right.
And finally, I just found myself so unhappy that I thought, oh my gosh, I need to tell him. And he took the easy way out and divorced me, which I didn't expect. I expected him to be on my side, and it shook my world. The day I got divorced was the day my mother's husband died. And it's also, my brother went through some major thing that day, and I fell to the ground. And it took me about a month to pull myself together. And I went to go visit my mom, and I found out that she had a property in Costa Rica.
Wow.
And she said, her finances were shot. She lost everything. And I said, "Okay, Mom, let's sit down." And I'm no finance whiz. And I sat down and I scribbled, what she had and what she had to pay. And I said, "Mom, let's take a look at this and see how you can live. Can you live off of this amount?" And she goes, "Oh, I think I can do it." I mean, she was a shell of a woman. And I thought, this is not my mother. My mother is strong. She's powerful. And I told her that, and she says, "But I said, I'll pay it." She goes, "You haven't even seen it." I said, "Sight unseen, Mom, I'll take care of it." I didn't want my mom to suffer. I think she was 70 at the time. And so I bought it, sight unseen. So while I was going through my divorce proceedings, for about 2 years, I had this reoccurring dream that I was sitting on this mountaintop overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And anytime somebody would say, "Well, what are you going to do next?" I was like, "I don't know. I keep having this dream, but am I moving to Kauai? Like, I don't know. I've never seen this." So December of 2013, I came to the retreat, which was a house at the time. And I landed in the parking lot, and I looked out, and this was the view in my dreams. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to do it. This is the retreat. And I blindly just started building. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It was ugly. Like I had guys coming after me because there was money owed on the property. There was a car that was rotting in the driveway. My mom was disappeared for a year while her husband was dying. So, in the wintertime, the mold comes in, and, if you don't combat it, it will grow. And apparently the local market, I had a gun to my head. I mean, it was not pretty at all. And I just fought through it. I was so distraught from the divorce and losing my family that I didn't even care. Like, it was like I was numb. And I think knowing now what I know now, if I knew that then, I would never have taken on this big project. But I just went in blindly, and I'm glad I was that dumb at the time. Because ignorance is bliss in a lot of ways.
Just having a spiritual awakening and just going for it. That's the best. That's how every great story starts. So.
Well, and my children were grown. They were going off to college. I had one little one. He was still in high school, but he was such an easy guy that, I could leave him with his dad for 5 days and then come here. And I just, like I said, it was one of those moments where you just keep moving forward. You're on a trajectory and you don't even know where you're going. You're just doing your intention. And my intention was to take my skills as a spirit coach, a life coach, a raw food chef, and a priestess. I'm a licensed priestess in this, and to bring it to a brick and mortar place where people could come. And
Definitely.
that's what I've done, and wellness for me is really all the things that I know, in my heart, for my own education, from learning how to heal myself.
Yes.
Once you learn how to heal yourself, you're capable of helping others.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so, would you say that travel was a big part of your life up until Thailand, up until this moment? And because I'm wondering, land up until this moment, and because I'm wondering how your mother, she had this property in Costa Rica. Did you guys travel as a family? Like, what? But then I also know that you said that you didn't feel very validated in that way. So, what was the connection with you and wanting to seek out travel?
Well, it's fascinating because when I met my husband, I was only 21 years old, and he said, "Do you want to travel?" And I said, "No." I mean, I think I was afraid of getting lost. That's why the Thailand experience was such an awakening for me, because I got lost and I found myself.
Right.
That was the beauty of it. And I was afraid of getting lost. I think I was afraid of the unknown as a younger person. And then I went to Paris for I think it was my 40th birthday. It was my girlfriend's 40th birthday. So it was my 38th birthday. And I went to Paris for the first time, and she ended up sleeping in the hotel all day. And I just wandered around. I had no idea where I was going. I don't even think we had cell phones at that time. I'm not even sure we did, or at least it wasn't something you took with you all the time. And I
Hmm.
got lost, and I was like, wow, this isn't so scary. And then I got the bug. And then
Right.
I wanted to travel a lot. And, and then the more I wanted to travel, the more I shook my husband's world. He was like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? I need you to stay home. And again, that separated us. Now I travel all the time. It's like it's what I do. That's my home. I live in United Airlines.
Yeah. And so that's another thing. How do you balance all of, your travel now with, owning this property in Costa Rica and owning the retreat?
Well, I try to travel around work.
Okay.
So, for example, if I have to go to a summit in Europe, I just pad it. So the summit's 2 days, I stay for 2 weeks, and I experience other places. I also like to go to other spas, other resorts, wellness resorts, so that I can bring something back. In fact, the retreat Costa Rica is based on literally the pick and choose of the things I thought were the most fascinating.
Hmm. And so, what have been some of your favorite wellness destinations? Before we get more into the story of the retreat, I'd love to just know what are some of your favorite locations, wellness treatments you've received.
You know, I, Now that I'm an owner, I'm way pickier. I mean, everything I look at, I'm like, this is not so great. This is so great. Well, I went to Rancho La Puerta while my kids were for like 5 days every year for about 10 years. And I actually twisted my ankle. I was a semi-pro volleyball player, and beach volleyball. And so we were playing volleyball in Rancho La Puerta, and I landed on my right foot and twisted it, and thought, this is straight. It happened to be the week that they were having the cancer survival and a shamanic doctor there. So she was Eastern Western medicine. And so
Mhm.
she kind of came to me and said, come. And she did this whole shamanic ceremony on me. And she told me I'm about to have this huge awakening. And me twisting my foot was me saying, you're going in the wrong direction. The way that the way your life is going, your right foot is your forward movement. And she says, and it's telling you stop. That's not the right way. And so that was a huge twist. So that kind of spirituality that comes with places like Rancho La Puerta are
Right.
really beautiful. And I admire that a lot. I'm not into the big fancy ones. I honestly like the more boutique places that cater to intimacy
Hmm.
and getting to know the culture. I think that's one thing that we're really lacking in the world is the intimate connection. So the smaller, cozier the property, the more authentic it um, is where I thrive. Massages, you get a good one here, you get a good one there. You have eating programs. I used to like WeCare in California, but their system is so You make your own like powdered drinks. There's no creativity anymore. And I thought, gosh, I mean, it's really just going on a detox away from your own home. So
Right.
how do you do that but cater to the elegance and the luxury? So anyway, there's a lot of pieces that I picked up from all over the world. Um, in Kamalaya in Thailand, there's a beautiful cave, and you go in there, and there's a monk, and he kind of tells you about his, how he sees you, and those details. So each one has its own little special detail. I mean, I can go on a list of 100 places I've been.
Yeah. No, so taking those back to the retreat and building this out, what were some of your biggest inspirations when, take us back to when you're first building the retreat?
Well, I wanted everything to be white, which again is not the smartest thing in Costa Rica, because that's why when you go to Costa Rica, everything's rustic for a reason, because of the weather and because of the insects. Nobody can see them.
Mm-hmm.
But here everything's white. And the idea was to a blank canvas to paint the
Mm-hmm.
world and what you want for yourself. And I believe that whatever you want for yourself, you can achieve if you're given a break and you surrender to it. So that's what the retreat was based on, that and the food, the culture, moving your body in gentle ways. We do yoga twice a week, twice a day, and then a gentle hike. I don't like to overexert the body. I like it to rest and surrender, to allow, the connection to nature and to see what you really want. We happen to be on a crystal mountain. Bam, how did that happen, right?
Incredible.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. We started digging the garden and big chunks of quartz were coming out. And we do this tour at a waterfall down the road, and there's these terrariums in a local bar. And I thought, oh, cute, they have iguanas, right? I walked over there, and these big chunks of crystals. So this entire region right here is all crystal quartz. In fact, we had a landslide on one of our hikes, and we were climbing over it, and I don't know how crystals form necessarily, but there was blue and purple, and I don't know if they were I don't know what they were, but place is covered in crystals.
That is magical. That is just not a coincidence. That is so amazing.
Well, and the vibration on everybody says the vibration here is palpable. When they
Right.
step foot, they're like, "Whoa, where am I?" And I believe that's the crystals.
Mhm. And so, what were some of the three most important things that you learned along your journey with opening the retreat? Just to put a number on it, because I'm sure the lessons have been endless. But
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
the
yeah.
three main
Three
things?
things I've learned. Well, you only trust yourself,
Hmm.
and trust your intuition. I mean, that's huge. I think that when we put our trust in other people, we can get duped pretty quickly. Um, um, Always believe in magic. I mean, I believe this is a magical place that was created out of magic, because I mean, the day to day, the grind was not pretty. But if you stay focused on the end game and believe that it's going to come through, then it'll work. I have this wonderful thing that happened to me. It was a bigger undertaking than I expected. When I thought that when I bought this retreat that I was going to be able to build for a certain amount of money, and this is all self-funded. And so I put a number on it, and I thought, okay, this is what we're going to do. But I bypassed that within 3 months. Like, I bypassed that so fast, and all of a sudden, I had somebody staying on the property, and she was kind of managing the building. And she said, send me $20,000, send me $40,000, send me $60,000. And it was this ongoing thing. And I was like, okay, so I'm working, I'm working, I'm working. I'm trying to keep the money coming. And one day she said, send me $346,000.
What?
I was like, what? And she goes, well, the furnishings, Diana. And she goes, what do you, and then of course the taxes in Costa Rica are very high. And so I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And instead of panicking, I had this prayer that I do. And it's actually from the Course of Miracles. And it's about releasing your thoughts around things and letting the universe decide. And it was, I am spirit, pure and innocent. All is forgiven, all is released. And it's just about releasing your mind from your own thoughts. So
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? I'm going to go on a walk because I can't even respond to her. And I went on my little power walk in the morning, and I'm walking around. I'm like, I'm spirit, pure and innocent. All is forgiven. I was singing it. I was dancing it. I was doing all this stuff. And I came back to my house. Whew, I don't know what that is. And I came back to my house, and an email came in that a fund that I had invested in, $346,000 to the exact number. And I thought, okay, I did something like, I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm supposed to continue because I thought I was going to go bankrupt. I didn't know how I was going to continue. And it just, the magic of it was you're going the right way.
Absolutely. And I think the funding element can be a struggle for a lot of women, and especially I know a lot of around the world beauty, members. We have these dreams and goals and things that we want to do, but maybe we're working our day job or we're trying to save. And what are some like practical business funding tips or any advice that you would offer to someone that wants to be in the wellness space?
Well, I don't know about the wellness space, but how I live is I don't live with debt. If you can't afford it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the stress about finances and having your grounding is too much.
Right.
And there's been a lot of that over the course of the last, 7 years where I thought I panicked. I'm never worried about money, but when you're spending at an, exponentially and you don't have any money coming in, it can be extremely stressful and you have to be patient. And this is where the trust and the intuition comes in. You have to know that there's going to be magic involved. I don't have an answer to that because there's no practical answer in my book. I didn't have the money. I ended up, spending as it came, I spent. I just continued. I have not derived $1 from this hotel. It has just been a huge endeavor. And anything that it makes is to build and grow and improve.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to live off of the other work that I do so that I can do this project.
Mm-hmm. And so what's kind of next? What are you building and expanding on now?
Well, we just built these 6 lofts that I'm in right now, and we finished them December 22nd, and we've been booked out. The fact that I'm even in this room is amazing. We've been booked out since. Everybody wanted this. In fact, the other rooms now we have to redo because nobody wants to stay in them. And so now we have to increase infrastructure because now we're booked. We've doubled our occupancy. So we're going to expand the restaurant and expand the kitchen and expand the laundry room. And, there's a lot of things we have to do. We're going through some growing pains right now, with increasing staff. And then once that's stabilized, then we're going to build 10 more rooms. Mm-hmm. And we do have a project to do villas on the property. I've got so much interest and I'm just not sure I want to share the mountain.
Right.
I'm not sure my guests want to share the mountain with people who live here, residents all year long. So I'm rethinking it. I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants, to be honest.
That's okay. That works.
Yeah.
What would you say is the typical guest that comes and stays with you?
There isn't a typical guest, which is what's really surprising. Like in January, we had a whole slew of 28-year-olds. And I'm thinking, how did 28-year-olds afford to come here? And they were all techies. And they were fascinating. But what I've noticed is they all do something. They're all in transition. Mm-hmm. Everybody seems to be here in transition, needing something, but they don't know what they need.
Right.
Like I just was walking down to do this podcast with you. And this woman stopped me and she goes, "Are you Diana?" She was packing up to leave. And she said, "I have just been overwhelmed. I just sold my company. And I'm in transition, and this was the perfect place. And I feel like I found myself." So, I don't know. We have more couples than before. We used to have just mostly women in their late 20s to probably early 50s. But now we have a lot of couples, and men are really getting into wellness a lot more. They enjoy it. And I think that women used to say, "My husband will never come if the food is not, meat and potatoes." But we have meat and potatoes. We just have, sustainable, local, organic. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing. And so how much, I know that you've really curated everything from the food to the decor to everything being all white. What would you say are like some touches that you're the most proud of or that guests always comment on? Because they are in this transition period. So maybe it is finding some food and finding, comfort in that, but also having it fuel their body in an amazing way. What are some things that you
there's 3 things that I hear over and over again, and I am very proud of it because it was a decision I made that was not popular, which was not to have a menu. to have it all chef's choice. And everybody says people are not going to be happy with that. And I said, they're going to be happy with it because in order to surrender, you cannot be presented with choices.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. When I was in Kamalaya, I went on a detox program, but every time I sat at dinner, they had this detox menu, and then they had this amazing menu of real, like, lamb masaman and
Yeah.
Thai food. And every night I grappled with it, and I always ended up ordering the stuff I wanted, not the detox menu. So if you're not given a choice, then people start to go, wow, I didn't even know I liked that. And I think that became, the food is one of our hits. And as a chef and the one who created the menu or created the standardized, anti-inflammatory diet, I'm very proud of that. The other thing is the details. I'm unfortunate. I got like 11 planets in Virgo, so I am a perfectionist. So I walk around and I'm moving things constantly, so the place feels like home and not a hotel. And I'm sure people who've been here can say that, because they've actually told me. I had the CEO of Toyota from Bogota come here, and he kept coming. He was here every 4 months, and I said, "What's going on?" I said, "You're always here." He goes, I've been to hotels all over the world." He goes, "But this feels like home." And when he said that, it was like the sound heard around the world. My brain just went, "This is exactly what it is. It's that cozy, homey feeling." We have an open kitchen, and when the kitchen is cooking and you're sitting in the lounge, you can hear the chefs moving, kind of like when you go home to mom, in your mid-20s, early 30s, you go home to mom. Mom's always doing what she did when you were a kid, and it's cozy and comfortable, and it feels like home. You can smell the food. They come out and go, "Do you want to taste this?" And it's really cozy. And the third thing is the staff. Because of our location, we're not in a high traffic tourist location. So instead of hiring staff that were professionals in tourism, I hired staff with heart, and we trained them. So we do have some people in the hotel industry, but a lot of them just are good people that we trained. And I love that.
It's so important to surround yourself and have that right energy and the right mix of people.
Yeah.
So having that is amazing.
Yeah.
And I know, because we all can't do it alone. No matter how Virgo you are, and no matter whatever perfectionist you are, we all need help, and that's okay. But
When I say Virgo, you know what I'm saying, right?
I know I'm very critical of myself. I have many Virgos.
Yes.
As well. So
I annoy myself. I'm like, let it go, lady.
yeah, I know. That's what I have to do. I tell her, I was like, okay, my Virgo side is a mean girl. So I'm telling her, like, no, you're not going to, no fighting. So I love that. And in terms of your career as a chef, and I know that you have, watched so many cookbooks, and you're kind of walking us through your, naked challenge. So a lot of people, it seems that this is the reason why they want to check in, is because of the detox program that you offer. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how you kind of how it's evolved?
Well, I wrote my book, Get Naked Fast, which is about stripping away the foods that weigh you down. And it was super successful. And people would ask me, can you put together a program for me? So I ended up creating this Naked Challenge program where it's the food for 10 days and I guide them. So it's not just about the food. It's about releasing not only the foods that weigh you down, but the thoughts that weigh you down, the emotions that we carry, the backpack of negativity or old news. And so it was an online event, and I was booking out, and I couldn't even, it's supposed to be an hour call a day. And we had so many people, it was 3-4 hours, and people over a course of time would lose 85 pounds, heal themselves from cancer. And there were so many great testimonials that came out of this program that I created, that when I opened the retreat, it became a vital part of the program. Where people could come and not just lose the weight. I don't do the retreats myself anymore because you can't keep track. Everybody has a different schedule. So come August, I'm doing one again. And yeah, August 5th to the 15th. In fact, anybody listening on this, I believe, is going to get a coupon code for this, because I want them to come and I want them to experience the event, not just by the food, but it's a community of people who work together to unleash and release anything that weighs them down. And it's miraculous. And it's like a beginning, it's like starting the race.
Hmm.
People don't know how to begin, and it's there's so much information and so much education, and you just feel so good that you want to continue.
I love that. And yes, very excited for this discount code because I know I want to join. A lot of other people would want to join. But let's say there's someone that, for whatever reason, they can't travel right now. They are feeling called to transform and work on themselves. What would you recommend someone can do to kind of implement some of these practices at home?
Well, it's I'll give you 5 top things that I know can change. First of all, get some sleep. A lot of people don't sleep and they don't sleep well. And you need 8 hours of sleep for sure. Sleeping is nature's way of saying, calm down, detox. And so while you're sleeping is when you release. And that's what, if you're not sleeping more than 4 hours a night, then you're not releasing the way you should. Never eat past 6. Allow yourself to stop eating so you go to bed a little empty, and that allows the detox process to occur. Drink tons of water, more water than you think you can handle.
Uh-huh.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
And when you drink a lot of water, because sometimes we think that we're hungry, but we're not really hungry. We're just thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
So we end up eating something, and usually it's a snack, and it's usually a dry snack. So what it does is it takes from your own body's reserve of fluid to process that cracker or that chip or something, right?
Right.
I'm not even going to say no sodas because that should be just across the board. Anybody drinking sodas in this time with the knowledge that we have, I'm not even going to say that one. And have one of these every day. You got to have a green juice. The green juices they literally go straight into your liver the second you start drinking them, and they release all the toxins. They start to move everything through the system. So one a day will start the system detoxing. It's, I don't know, breakfast, lunch, mid between breakfast and lunch, and move your body. But don't work out so hard. Don't make it like, these gym rats and stuff. They end up suffering later.
Right.
And, they push themselves so hard. They look great. They're tight, they're toned, but they all have issues. They all have problems. And then their whole system gets whacked out when they get older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are great tips. What are some ways that you recharge yourself?
Quiet time, alone time. Yeah. My mind works probably too fast, faster than most people. I've been told, like they can't keep up with me. I think I can't keep up with myself. so so when I'm alone, I just kind of unwind, and I paint.
Mm.
I paint. In fact, I paint most paintings here at the hotel. It's my way of just decompressing, and hours will go by when I'm painting, and cooking. I'm a creative monster,
Mm-hmm.
constantly, coming up with something.
Yes, and executing and
Yeah,
making those creative outlets for yourself. I think since COVID, so many people, myself included, are very creative, but maybe work, shifted. We couldn't travel as much. We couldn't do things that we love to do. So it almost felt like there's been a lot of people feeling really stagnant. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and so it's like, what would you say? I know that that's how you recharge. What would be some ways that you would recommend someone can re-energize themselves creatively?
Well, I think what you just said is they're stagnant, so you have to create something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell you what your passion is, whether it's writing, reading, painting, cooking, exercising. You have to make time in the day to do what recharges you. And we all get stagnant. I'm a workaholic, so I find myself stuck in a computer for too long. Making sure I like to always be ahead of the game. If there's things I need to order, I don't want it to like catch up to me. I want to make sure it's done ahead of time. And I find myself, I'll still be in my pajamas at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, haven't left my computer. We got to snap out of it. We got to snap out of it. And it's a constant practice. It's like anything, right? We talk about yoga being a practice. Well, practice your yoga at home, which means sitting with yourself, laying on the floor. When's the last time anybody just laid on the floor and stretched? Like sometimes I do that when my guy has the TV on and he's like sitting on the couch eating, labney and some pita chips. It's his favorite thing. I lay on the floor and I go, God, I just never, when you start to lay down, you start to move your body and you're like, wow, that really feels good. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So those little changes that we make throughout the day, they build up. It's, I say this with any program you want to start, anytime you want to make change in your life, do little by little by little, and then keep it consistent and it grows on its own. Like even with my cookbook, Get Naked Fast, it's, the dairy, wheat, sugar, meat, caffeine, and alcohol. And everybody says, oh my gosh, I can't take any of that out. And I go, take one out, just take one. And then after maybe 2, 3, 4 months, take another.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've taken them all out, live with that for a while, and then you can start bringing some in as you want. You see, but you have to do it on a consistent basis so it becomes habitual. Like brushing your teeth, right? We brush our teeth because we have to, because we woke up, we were taught, mommy said, brush your teeth in the morning, brush your teeth at night. We do it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And having those gradual changes that it grows over time. And then you look back and you're in a completely different place than you were 1, 2, 3, or 4 years ago.
It's exactly right. In fact, it's so funny because my brother, he said, you got to help me lose some weight. And I said, okay. So I put him on my program and I walked through it with him. Like we spent a month together just doing what I do. And he lost 25 pounds in that month. And he came to visit me in my new home in Miami. And he said, well, I'm on vacation. I can eat that ice cream. And I was like, that's the wrong thought process. You don't work that hard for a month and then just fall off of it because you're on vacation. You have to integrate those habits into your everyday life. Doesn't mean you can't have ice cream. It just means that your thoughts are going to consume you. Like I did this for a month. I lost 25 pounds and now I'm going to eat ice cream and pizza and all this stuff and gain 10 back so I can go on a month program again.
Right.
And it's like the yo-yo effect. What we're all trying to create is homeostasis. And if we have a little blip, we just go back into our homeostasis. You get another blip, you got a blip, you got a blip, you just go back. We all do it. I do it, especially when I'm traveling. I love to go out. I love to eat ice cream. I love to eat pizza. I love to drink tequila, but I got to get back to my homeostasis. Mm-hmm. And that, and where is your homeostasis? If your homeostasis is already pizza, burger, ice cream, then you need to reevaluate to find out where you feel good. And then always go back.
Absolutely. And so we love to kind of close and wrap things up with one question that we ask all of our travelers and every member of our group. How do you define beauty?
Health and happiness. If you don't feel good, you're not beautiful. It shows on your face. If you're not happy, it shows on your face. Mm-hmm. Shows in your body, shows in everything that you do. If you look at somebody and you go, gosh, I mean, how many times have you seen an absolutely gorgeous woman and she's just miserable and not so nice? And suddenly you're like, God, she's really pretty, but I would never even look her way. Her energy field is just off. She's probably unhealthy. She's probably not happy. Mm-hmm. But you can take a woman who's okay looking, right? But she's so in her body. She's so healthy. She feels good about life and she's radiant. And you go, wow, she's really stunning. I can't stop staring at her. Mm-hmm. And it's not about her features. It's not about her hair, her weight. Has nothing to do with that. Has everything to do with how they emit their energy.
Absolutely. And what has been like a lesson for you that you kind of look back on yourself? And I'm sure that, through healing yourself and all of your health issues, when has there been another transitional moment and maybe a little bit more recently where you've looked back and you thought, wow, I've grown in this way?
In the last 2 years. Yeah. Building this retreat, building Truth Bar. I don't know if I should say this, but kicked my butt. Mm-hmm. It really kicked my butt. I mean, it was hard. It was hard traveling so much without having any homeostasis. I gained 30 pounds. I couldn't lose it. My hormones were all out of whack. I was looking old and disheveled and not myself at all. I had pain in every part of my body. And then the whole world shut down. Mm-hmm. And I got stuck here in Costa Rica and I started working with our Ayurvedic doctor just to get some balance, just to, in Ayurveda, what they do is they move the meridians and they rebalance them. And then your body starts working for you again. I think I just kind of shut down. you know? So I feel like I can take on the world again.
Hmm.
And in the last 7 years, I wanted it all to stop,
Right.
you know? So yeah, the last 2 years have been great for me. Great, great. Bittersweet, right?
Right, right. Absolutely. This has been just absolutely amazing, Diana. You're so inspiring, and I loved hearing about your story and just your, willingness to share it with us. We really, really appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
And I know it's going to help because you're living our beauty dream. Let's say that, but not without your own struggles and having to balance it all. It's like, we think that, oh, if I do this, or if I open a retreat and then I do this and have my own spa, I'll be happier. This will be great. And it's always evolving. We're always going to have to keep, working on ourselves and getting into the homeostasis, like you mentioned.
I
So,
just had a birthday, and I turned 57, and I thought, God, I'm really close to 60. And I go, is this what 60 was? As a child, right?
right,
60-year-olds were old.
right.
And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm almost 60. This is amazing. Like I had no idea. Now, 3 years ago, I felt 60, you know?
Yeah.
But now I feel alive and amazing. So I was like, wow, this is really something. How did I get here? When did this happen? But it's okay. I'm totally okay. It's like I can't wait for the next 30 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting. It's all exciting and
All
inspiring.
exciting.
It's a
Exactly.
journey.
Exactly.
Um, so, like I said, we've had such a great time chatting with you. I believe that we can share all of your website information, all of your socials, a discount code with our viewers. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close?
Um, Not really, except I mean, yes, there's so much. It's too much for this, but I do want to say that I am doing this naked challenge, which is an amazing thing in August, and I'm giving a coupon code for any listeners here so that they can come in and enjoy because you know it's not that easy for people to afford to go take care of themselves. That's the number one thing that stops people: time and money. And so we want to make it easier for people so that they can actually take that leap of faith into their own travel and beauty, experience.
Absolutely. Well, you will definitely see me there. I don't know if it will be August. I hope so, but you will see me at some point. I'm very excited to experience this
Good.
beautiful retreat that you've built. And thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you, Sable. Nice talking to you.
You too. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.